Hello everyone, Voodoo here. Now the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed a hotfix come through about a week and a half ago now. That hotfix might seem a little minor, but actually has like pretty huge ramifications for the viability of Fel-Scarred specifically in Mythic Plus for Havoc Demon Hunter. So in today's video, we are going to talk about that. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're pushing for 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And with that, get on to it. Now, for those of you who missed the bug fix, it is this. It was on May 6th. I didn't talk about it then, but I'm talking about it now. Havoc fixed an issue that prevented a fire inside from dynamically updating the damage bonus granted to Immolation Aura based on your current mastery amount, like when activating a trinket that increases mastery. So, in layman's terms, what would happen is that fire inside would not scale dynamically as you gained or lost mastery. So what basically happened with this is that whenever you talented into a fire inside, it locked that mastery amount. So if you had 10,000 mastery and you talented into a fire inside, it would lock that amount. You could take all your mastery gear off, you could put a ton more mastery gear on, you could use a potion, you could use a trinket, you could go party up with a shaman, you could have a proc. All that would not matter, would not change the damage bonus in Immolation Aura. And the big reason why this was fixed, and shout out to the Chinese community who saw this, I'll show you this log here. And let's look at something kind of weird. This Havoc's really pumping out damage. 5.46 million on a 16 floodgate. We're gonna translate this to English, so I'm gonna do that real quick. There we go. Let's look at the damage of this Havoc. Whoa, that's kind of freaky. That's a lot of Immolation Aura damage, isn't it? Some might say too much. Some might say too much, especially when you're, Eye Beam is 11%, Demon Surge 7%. Immolation Aura, 60.99% of your damage. That's a lot. Now, if you look at this again, I'm actually not sure if this will show the mastery value they had. No, it doesn't show it. But like looking at this guy's character, or this person's character, I don't really know. Nothing super crazy here, right? Basically what was happening, and for those of you who know what Torghast is, it'll, wait, does it actually say? Yeah, mastery 5,000. That's weird. They should have a lot more than that when they're doing this much damage. Well, what happened is that the person here went into Torghast. They got as much mastery as physically possible. They talented into a fire inside, went changed their gear around, whatever, went into a dungeon with a fire inside talented. Crazy Immolation Aura damage. And you end up where we're here with 60.99% of the damage coming from Immolation Aura. Obviously, a lot of that is Rage Fire, because Rage Fire is the collection of all these as well. Yeah, so that's some crazy shit, which is kind of why we're here talking about this a little bit. So Blizzard wouldn't fix that. This does actually have impacts for everybody though. We're gonna hop in game now, I'll talk about a little bit more, but it's not just because of this person who it was more than one person was doing it, but this actually does have some implications. Here I am in game, and let's take a look at my stats, right? So we got 16,000 mastery, 20,000 crit. So if I were to talent into a fire inside right now, it would hard lock at those values before the bug fix. You can do some cheeky stuff like take off all the all the critical strike stuff on my character. I'm not going to do that. Most of my stuff is actually critical strike and mastery, but we can take off anything that's like heavy crit, like this ring. I guess we could just back my bag. Now they're much closer. We could put on what else has crit on it? Someone else has crit on it. Oh, there we go. This has crit on it, no mastery, and boom, get our mastery to be higher. We'll take off one more piece with like high crit, take off our chest piece too, why not? And then boom, mastery's higher than crit, and then we can push our trinket. Now we have like 21,000 mastery. We could like game that even more. We could pop a potion, and now we have like 100% mastery, and then you talent into it, and you get the jig, right? So that they fixed that. But what that does do is it does make things like Fel-Scarred much better. Now it does also impact the normal low mover build, right? Like obviously you're playing Immolation Aura. Immolation Aura is going to be a pretty decent chunk of your damage for this build as well. But Fel-Scarred gets even more buffed up by it because of two things. First thing is that they have a really strong talent in terms of Flamebound. Immolation Aura has a 2-yard increased radius and a 50% increased critical strike damage bonus. That's a lot. They really buffed this talent. That's a lot of damage on Immolation Aura, which means a lot more damage on Rage Fire. Other thing with this is a secret effect, is that Rage Fire also inherits the 2-yard increased radius, which means it does more damage because it hits more targets. So that's a huge bonus for this, right? If you were just a normal person playing the game, you got House of Cards, you got your potion proc, right? You got your Flask of Alchemical Chaos. Maybe you're running the offhand mastery enchant. Maybe you're running those trinkets like the drink or the mechanical core. Maybe you're running with a shaman, right? There's a lot of things in the game that give you mastery. Maybe you're running ascendancy still for whatever reason. I'm doing it because of raid, but you know, there's a lot of things in the game that give you mastery. So this is a huge buff on top of the 60% we got to Havoc Mythic Plus. It actually means that Fel-Scarred is now going to be on par with Aldrachi Reaver. And really the only thing it's going to come down to is, do you need that funnel in a dungeon? Or do you want more just blasting AoE with Immolation Aura and all the Demon Surge and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of like what it's come down to. You can play both. Both are about equally as viable now, which is really, really good. The rise of Arcane Mage has also made Havoc's funnel not as like important. So if you're playing with an Arcane Mage, honestly, Fel-Scarred gains a ton of value. But even if you're not playing with an Arcane Mage, there are a lot of dungeons this season where the funnel you need isn't that crazy important. Like there's certain moments where you want it, but there's a lot of dungeons where it's like, do I really need the funnel here, or would I rather do probably more overall or help more in time to key with Fel-Scarred? So we're gonna go through some of those dungeons now, just on like a dungeon route. And just talk about, I think, which dungeons Fel-Scarred clearly wins out at. All right, so in terms of dungeons, the biggest one is obviously Floodgate. I talked about this a little bit ago in a different video before they got that bug fix. But you know, Shredinators are kind of your only big funnel targets, as well as like the 1 or 2 Blood Warpers you do end up pulling. Like this route has 1, some routes have 2. And then like the Dark Fuse Jumpstarts, which again, like aren't really that big or impactful. So in this key, like really this is such a good Fel-Scarred key because there's so many packs with tons of targets that you want to kill at roughly the same time. You don't pull that many big funnel targets, and there still is good prio on Fel-Scarred with Burning Blades, so it's not even like, you know, you're doing 0 prio damage or anything like that. The funnel just isn't that valuable here. You have the first boss where killing all these mecha drones at the same time is useful. Second boss where even damage is great. And you know, there's really just not a ton of funnel in this key. Workshop is another big one where there's just not really funnel, right? The only real funnel targets in this dungeon are these 3 drills. Other than that, there's like nothing here where funnel is that valuable. All these pulls here with the defense bots, there's always like 2 of them at once. There's this pack with 1 defense bot, but there's also 2 defense bot mark 1, so it's not even like that good. There's this pack with 2 defense bots. There's this pack with 2 defense bots, right? And then there's all these other packs with just like a bunch of metal gunks, a bunch of junkyard dogs, all this stuff with the first pull, and then like this boss with 2 targets. And there's really just nothing to really funnel off of in this dungeon. Yeah, you can pull it in different ways, but even then, like at most you're pulling 3. Like if you're doing this as slow as you can, you're doing 1 drill at a time, then like you're only pulling 1 funnel target 3 times, and then like there's not really a ton of great funnel targets. So Fel-Scarred is a really good one in Workshop as well. Dark Horse Theater of Pain is also decent. Now realistically speaking, the build does not matter in this key. You can funnel on the first boss a little bit, but realistically, like you kind of want to kill them all together. So Fel-Scarred's good there. There is really good stuff with Gore Chop because you end up funneling from the ads he spawns into the boss, which is good. But like a lot of the other ones is just like, this dungeon doesn't really matter. You can play either here. I know Shad played Fel-Scarred on his like highest key or most recent key he did on this dungeon. It really doesn't matter. There is some funnel with like Butchers and Butcher. That's kind of it. There's not really much funnel in this wing. I guess like you can kind of funnel off of the stuff onto the big idiots. But like again, there's a lot of packs where things just kind of want to die equally. And there's just not a ton of funnel in this key. Even though, like, realistically here, I think you could play either and be fine. Last one I want to talk about is Priory. Priory is going to depend on what you have the hardest time with. Because this key does have good funnel targets. It has the ones that summon the mini-bosses. So Suleiman and Amaya, the High Priest, and then this guy, who generally, you know, that's generally what people pull. You're crazy if you take Damien still, I believe. And then, obviously, the 2 mini-bosses they summon. I don't remember which ones, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Those are great funnel targets. And then the Baron Sir Braun Pike at the end here. Not this guy, this one. Other than that, no, not really, right? The big bonus for Fel-Scarred in this key is you're killing the Paladins easier. And when there's pulls where you're pulling 6 of these guys at once, or 4 of these guys at once, killing the Paladins all at the same time is really good. So it really is a bit of a trade-off. Like, yes, you do lose funnel on these mini bosses, but you gain a lot of damage on the paladins, which is great. I think if you really have an arcane mage here, I think I would go Fel-Scarred personally, but this one can go either way. The rest of them, meatery, there's a lot of funnel in this dungeon. All of the hobgoblins, Chewy, and then the mussels, all the honey harvesters, or not the honey harvester, the gnolls in each of these wings. Each of these wings has something you can funnel off of. The boss you can funnel into, really good there. Dark Flame Cleft as well. A lot of these pulls have funnel targets, onto the creepers, onto the, I guess you skip this, but the candles here, the big guy at the start, the overseers or whatever. First boss is funnel central, so realistically don't think it's great there. Rookery as well. This dungeon has a lot of funnel off of it, right? This entire last area is like built for funnel onto this guy, funnel onto this girl, them, crazy stuff there. First middle mini boss there, all the Storm Riders, Void Riders, Void Ascendants. This one's built for it. And then Motherlode, also I would say has pretty good funnel. You got all the goons and peacekeepers at the start. You have the drills in the second part. You have the R&D people in the third part, and then you have the war machines in the fourth part. So again, I think this one a really good funnel dungeon. So biggest ones are Floodgate and Workshop. I would say every time, 100% of the time, you're playing Fel-Scarred here. Theater of Pain really could go either way. Doesn't matter too much. Just depends on if you want a little more AoE here to kill things at the same time, or a little more single target slash funnel. This one, again, could go either way. And then Priory as well, I could see it being pretty good here. Because again, there are lots of pulls where you want to kill things, but Paladin damage is kind of going to be better if you're playing Fel-Scarred, whereas mini boss damage will be better if you're playing Aldrachi Reaver. So there you go. That is the video. Again, I want to do this because Fel-Scarred is really, really good now, and it's going to get better with more mastery because it actually scales with mastery now as opposed to before where it didn't. So I would add Fel-Scarred to your toolkit. If you want a Fel-Scarred guide, I have one. I know Shad put one out as well. Maybe even Jeddah too. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure he does, but I don't know. I can't confirm. But yeah, I mean, like, Fel-Scarred is significantly better with this bug fix because it gains so much more damage from Immolation Aura than Aldrachi Reaver does. And it is viable now in 2 of the 8 dungeons every time, and then 2 other ones sometimes. So that's like half of them. So realistically, like, that's really good, right? That means that Havoc has a choice on each dungeon, which one's better, and that's ideal. Now, unfortunately, in Raid, they're not balanced at all. But in Mythic Plus, they're very, very close, and hope this lets you guys pick out what you want, right? Like, do you want this one? Do you want that one? I hope this means that you can get some cool little interesting choices and maybe change it up a bit. And of course, if you're not pushing the highest keys, if you're doing like 12, 13, 14, 15, you can play whatever you want, even if you're doing less than that too. This is more so like 16, 17, 18. I don't think any Havoc has done a 19 yet, but this is more for at that level where this minutiae kind of becomes important. If you're doing under that, play whatever the hell you want. Fel-Scarred pumps. It does really good stuff. I was doing some weekly keys of the weekend, just like 10s, 12s for some gear, not gear, to fill a vault. Fel-Scarred blasted, played a few times. So really good stuff there. Balanced. We'll see what happens with iterations in the future, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Next video will be about corruptions on Monday, and then we'll see from there. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Again, we are pushing for 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're on track to make it, which is amazing. Actually, like way before the end of the year, but keep it going. And yeah, so appreciate you guys so much. Like the video to share it to more people, and I'll see you guys on Monday for corruptions. So peace. A big thank you to everyone watching my videos, but especially to my channel members. Thank you, Alexander Trifunovic, Rukaza, Fear Redefined, Loose Change, Jorge Polanco, Matthew Barr, Zuligan, Chocobo Merc, Gabriel Correa, Matchman 133, and Falafadar and Dark Terror. Thank you so much to everybody. If you want to join and support me in making videos, consider following the link below. I will be adding more perks to this over the summer as I get more time, including log review, which isn't available right now. But again, I do appreciate everybody just supporting me and watching the videos. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Peace.